Welcome back. Well, what could be standing in the way of having the best year of your life ever are your own fears.
Yes. And Dr. Cathy Greenberg, our First Lady of Happiness, is now our First Lady of Inspiration for a Fearless Life. And that saying is probably very true. What's standing between you and a great life is probably your own fears. And
Absolutely.
you kind of tackle this in your new book.
Yes, we talk about Brave New You. And the new book is called Fearless Leader, Sharpen Your Focus. It's a new series. It follows on the Happiness series that we did for many years, and we thank you for having us back with our new subject matter. But yes, let's talk about a Brave New You. How do we get there?
And you kind of give us, we won't give them all, but you give us 12 successful kind of like tips to follow.
Exactly. We've been working with Special Forces operators, humanitarians, business leaders, and sports and athletes who have been very, very generous in sharing with us collectively what are the 12 success secrets that anyone can use to become truly fearless. So today we're going to talk about a couple of them that you can read in the book.
Excellent. So what's the first one you'd like to share with us today?
The first one is dire consequences, how to avoid them. And we always use a simple acronym, try to keep it very simple, D-I-R-E, which spells dire. So D is, how do you get out of decision overwhelm? How many of you, and I'm sure 3 of us are
I know I'm
very guilty of this, we're trying to do too much at once. And one of the things that we try to help people understand is when you're making a decision, focus. Focus on what's most important at that moment. If it's for you, if it's for a child, if it's for a loved one, if it's for a friend, but please make it one in that moment and make it for you. So don't try to necessarily make it for everybody else. What's best for you in that moment.
And the I, the inflated expectations, might be a reason why it's hard to make that decision.
Absolutely. The I, the inflated expectations, leads us to disappointment. And sometimes we get into overwhelm because we also have a higher level of optimism, thinking something happens and we thought it would be good, but something happens and it's less than positive. So let's be a little bit more fearless, not inflate that expectation, and be reasonable when we're making a decision as well.
I feel like that's so difficult and so important at the same time. Tell us about R, because I think this will help.
R is not being reactive. When we become reactive, we regress. And we know that we're hardwired for hard times. The brain is a very old, archaic organ, as much as we love to think that it's very modern because it uses technology. It's very good at adapting. So recognizing that we can so control that reactivity if we think about what we're going to say before we say it. And we call that naming it to tame it.
It is. And then we've got one more.
Yes, the E. The E is delete the error messages. Error messages equal explosions. You're going to get an error message when you get into a dire circumstance and you don't recognize that you're putting yourself at risk. So let's think about ways that we can avoid those situations. Let's think about being in the moment, and let's think about what were the expectations. So ask some questions like, when is this due? When do you need this by? How can I help you? How can we break it down into baby steps so that if I can help you, maybe you can take a piece of it, you can take a piece of it, I'll take a piece of it, and collectively we'll get it done instead of expecting that each one of us has to do the whole thing. So those are the words for dire consequences.
And I love the acronym. I love something that's easy to follow along. And you say something also that I love is, don't look at your day and say, how can I fill my day? You say, how is my day filling me?
Exactly.
I love that saying.
Yeah, and one of the things that we always love to leave our audience with is a very simple thing that they can absolutely take away with them. And think about that. How do you want your day to fill you? And go from there. That was beautiful, Tina. Thank you.
It's very powerful, too. And the acronym really speaks to me because I'm forgetful. And we have another one, don't we? Get real.
Now, when we talk about get real, we talk about, again, managing expectations, and we talk about the idea of having realistic expectations and making expectations that are, for us, best at that moment. The best thing about real is also allowing whatever you've had happen to you pass. That's the A. You know, allow it to pass, move on, and then the L is love. Make sure you love and learn from that experience. We're all going to have experiences that don't necessarily give us all a positive. We got to figure out a way to look at what works and look at what doesn't work and take away those things in life that will give us joy and happiness and learn from them.
Right. You know, and my mother has told me my whole life, she said, think of the most successful person either in your career or anybody that you can think of and ask yourself, what is the difference between you and that person? There is no difference. The only thing standing between you and being that successful person is you and how you kind of handle the situation.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this is exactly, you, my mom must be talking.
You never know.
Yeah, but it is a lot about, you know, looking at yourself and seeing the things that you can do.
And it is. And this book is probably the smallest of the series. And you'll see it's very like 100 pages because those 12 success secrets need to be something everybody can adapt and adopt very simply. And so hopefully throughout the year we'll be back to teach our audience more about fearless leading through the 12 success secrets.
Looking forward to it. Cathy, thank you so much. This is so great. I can't wait to read your book.
Thank you.
And one thing that I really love that you said, live in the moment. And hopefully we can all do that moving forward in the new year.
Absolutely.
And for more information on Dr. Cathy Greenberg and her many initiatives, you can log on to her website, drcathygreenberg.com, and you can also check out fearlessleadersgroup.com.